You know, you might be attracted to these sort of very strong, sturdy guys who are very masculine, detached, not emotional, tall, dark, mysterious. And you'll get with these guys, and then they want you to stay at home and have children, that although you might be told to have that, but they don't allow you to express your masculine side. They want to be the dominant force, and you're sort of this old-fashioned woman at home kind of a thing. That's the old traditional role mate relationship where the male is dominant and the female is more submissive. The male's in charge and the women sort of follow along. It worked for a survival mechanism where men went out and, basically detached from life and sacrificed themselves and danger and so forth. And women nurtured life, gave to children and created a home and all that. That was then, but that's not now. Now, everybody can be independent, so women, as they become their whole self, their spiritual self. You have to realize the spirit is both masculine and feminine. So women, you've been moved beyond this threshold of masculinity coming out of you, independence, detachment, analyticalness. Everything has to make sense. This is your male side. The female side is emotional. It's loving. It's cooperative. It's yielding. It's interdependent. It's wanting to love is the priority, and happiness and doing what you enjoy doing. These are like the keys to your femininity. Every day you need to put some time aside for yourself. If you want to find the right guy, you've got to be the right guy for yourself. That's part of this whole thing. You can't expect a guy to be attracted to your female side if you're not going to give support to your female side. And what that would look like, practically speaking, for yourself is every day put some time aside and say, this is for something I would love to do for me, what I like to do, what I enjoy doing. Because part of the neurosis of women today, when they're too far on their male side, it's overwhelmed. It's, I got to do more, I got to do more, I got to do more. I take on more things to do as opposed to relax. And that's hard. And that's why we'll move into the whole thing about understanding our hormones, our hormonal differences and so forth. But maybe you want to review something I said that you agree with.
Yeah, well, there's so much there, John, and I just love what you're sharing. One thing that came to mind as you were speaking, and perhaps I'm speaking in part from my own experience because I was a first-time bride at age 43 and have been married to a wonderful man now for a little over 10 years. But I had my own long and winding journey to love. And one of my challenges, and I think that it's common to many of the women in this audience, is I did grow up in a time where women had new opportunities, and I wanted to be fully expressed in those ways. And I was proud of my independence and what I'd accomplished. And it was almost like, for some of that time, a badge of honor that I didn't need a man. And yet, at times, this deep desire, sometimes in a very surprising and poignant way, would rise up inside of me, and I would realize that I really did desire that on a very deep level, even to the point where I did recognize that it was a need. It was something I really wanted and needed in my life. And what I find in speaking with women in their 40s, 50s, 60s, which are mainly the women that I work with, is many of us, and myself included, are in that boat, and yet we actually long for, on some levels, to have that masculine, feminine dynamic in some of the more traditional ways, but we still want to feel like we're fully expressed and able to show our strength and our independence as well. And so it creates a bit of confusion. But just as an example, when I got married, I had been in some corporate jobs where I traveled a lot and I drove around and did customer-facing meetings and that sort of thing a lot. And then all of a sudden my husband was doing more of the driving when we did things together. And John, this sounds like a simple thing, but I can remember saying to my husband many times, it's such a relief for me to just be able to sit back and relax and let you drive and get us there. Now, I'm perfectly capable of driving, but that was a luxury that I really enjoyed. And I think this tricky part is that part of us desires some of the aspects of kind of the more traditional male-female roles, and then part of us wants to, not feel like we're being suppressed or that we're not fully expressed in our own capacity and capabilities. And I think this is part of what you're talking about and what your new book is about. there's some confusion around all of this. It creates a lot of chaos and some craziness between both men and women. Again, I gave a big statement there, but yeah, pick up wherever you like there.
Oh, I just want to acknowledge the wisdom that comes out of you. That was such a beautiful example of what I'm talking about, which is, yes, I can drive myself, and I do that. I'm very independent. And yes, I have a female side that wants someone to do something for me. And I can just relax. And I'm just putting myself in the position of your husband for a moment. And what a nice thing it was that you said to him. You see, you gave him the message that he was providing something that you needed, okay, that was useful for you. Let me, fulfill something that's useful for you. And I know it's a little confusing between desire, wanting something, and needing something. And, they feel kind of the same, but actually needing is where you're depending on someone else, something outside yourself. And wanting is really more about depending on yourself to achieve the goal. I want to make a difference in the world. I want my house to be wonderful. So I'm going to take action on that. I'm going to do it myself. So the difference between wanting, desire is based a lot on there's something I don't have. There's something out there that I want, and I'm going to do something about it. And again, if men have a goal, or women, you have a goal, but particularly for men, when you're on your goal side, you're on your male side, and that strengthens masculinity. And what's happening today, as women have gone to their male side, they have difficulty coming back to their happy, loving, fulfilled female side. You were able to do it. You were able to recognize, my ego's not so big that I have to do everything myself. I can allow him to do something for me and appreciate it. That was the beautiful thing about it. The metaphor I use is, when I take my wife on a romantic date, I always go over and open the door for her. If we're just doing work day, we rush and get in the car, we're off to do something. But we're on a date, she'll stand by the door and I'll open the door. And certainly she can open the door for herself. But when I open the door for her, basically the message, it's a symbol, it's a romantic message. And it's saying, you do so much for people all the time. Let me do something for you. So this evening's about you. Let me take care of you. Let me give to you. And that's what women need to get. And romance is a two-way street, but it's not both of them giving to each other. It's really more about men doing for women and women responding to his doing in a way that says what he did was helpful, made you happier, made you feel safe, made you feel comfortable, made you feel at ease. Safety, comfort, and happy. But safety is the most important. Next is comfort. Oh, I can relax. I don't have to do everything. And then you get to be happier than where you were. And a man can provide that. So these are like the messages that you want to give to a man when you are dating a man, is consistently giving him little messages that say, and this is a simple takeaway, but sometimes things are simple. Like you gave your example of just being in the car and going, oh, I'm so glad I don't have to drive now. Or I'm so glad you're here. I don't have to do this all by myself. I'm just glad you're here so I don't have to sit here and be alone. Just nice things that make a man feel like he has a meaning in your life.